Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastion Envi, strong style cinephile, your reigning, defending SCW Cruiserweight champion, of course. Now, when I originally conceived this video, it was just going to be an insert into a previous video that I did, and then I was like, let me just re-record it so I can get to my point faster. My point is, there seems to be a little bit of a chemistry problem on Daredevil, Born Again, carried over from the Netflix series. So let's geek about it for a scant few minutes. Now, the season finale of Daredevil happened. It was amazing. You had Kingpin doing Kingpin things, Daredevil doing Daredevil things, Punisher doing Punisher things. It was chaos, it was anarchy, and it solidified Wilson Fisk as one of the greatest written comic book villains, TV, film, like, in history. That much is, like, we know. Like, I think we can all agree upon that. It'll be interesting to kind of see how his shenanigans and his control as the Kingpin carries over from season 1 to season 2, and what he's putting into place, what he's getting away with on the port, what he's getting away with this whole anti-vigilante thing. He's got martial law in the city. Be interesting to kind of see how things come together. Matt at one point says they need an army. Are they going to bring back the other Defenders? Are they going to bring in any other sort of MCU-related characters? Can they? Who knows? There are rights and stuff at times, but remains to be seen kind of what happens. My thing is that there's a chemistry problem with this show. And that is, and it reminds me of this, like the Flash on the CW. If you were watching that show, you would realize that Grant Gustin, as Barry Allen, had so much more chemistry with women that he was not put with, like Danielle Pennebaker and the young lady who was playing Patty Spivot, much more than he had with Candice Patton, who plays Iris. And that's the thing. It's like, I understand that Barry and Iris were together in the comics. That's like their destiny. That's what they wanted to pull forth for the show. But sometimes you have to read the room and see what's going on. And the fact that, like I said, Barry had much more chemistry with Caitlin, had so much more chemistry with Patty frickin' Spivot. And I think a lot of people would agree that one of the biggest fumbles of The Flash was having Barry not with Patty Spivot. She figured out he was the Flash at one point in time. The last scene together with them, she's on a train. She calls in this sort of emergency just to get Barry to zoom on over as the Flash, confirming that he's the Flash. And then they kind of say, you know, their goodbyes. And then she rides off out of town. The actress goes on to do another show and all that. But Barry never had that chemistry with Iris. Never had anywhere near it. So here we have, on The Punisher, made me think about this, the fact that Charlie Cox and Deborah Ann Woll do not have anywhere near the chemistry that John Bernthal and Deborah Ann Woll have. And I don't know whether or not that's just, it's just a product of you know, whatever aura oozes off of Bernthal in this role as the Punisher. I've seen people online refer to them as Castle. That's their, like, shipping name. And it just, I was thinking about it, and it's just like, Karen Page and Frank Castle are like book talks, like wet dream. That's because it's like, read down like comments, show on videos where people put clips from this season, from the finale, and previous seasons of Daredevil and Punisher, where Karen and Frank were in scenes together, and it's a whole bunch of women commenting about, like, just loving the idea of them and everything, and it just falls in line with sort of, you know, type shit be seen on that book talk with these women loving these rough around the edges, dark dudes who can, like, sex them in animalistic ways or with, you know, whatever goes on over there. I fully admit I don't know truly what goes on over there. I don't want to know what goes on over there. But just from the commenters, you could tell that they're book talkers. And like I said, the idea of Karen Page with Frank Castle is book talk's wet dream. The idea of Castle landing with anybody for any sort of relationship is laughable, and I really hope that they don't, like, see all this shit that's going on TikTok and social media and think they need to pivot and go in that sort of direction with Frank Castle. It seems that, based on events of Daredevil, not to give super spoilers, that Frank's gonna go do his own thing. We know for sure Frank is going to get like a solo special, like a sort of like spotlight sort of thing where he's doing his own stuff over here. But like how Karen called Frank to take care of Matt, and then the whole like heartbeats thing where Matt can hear their heartbeats, and at one point like Karen's trying to tell Frank that she knows that he cares, blah, blah. And then her and Matt are talking later, and he talks about hearing her heartbeat when she saw him, or when they saw each other, his heartbeat, blah, blah, blah. And they chalk it up to like adrenaline or whatever. But no, it's because like Karen wants to jump Frank's bones. But if the long-term goal is to, again, because going from the comics and what happened in the comics is Karen and Matt were together in comics for a certain points in time. If they're wanting to go that route, this long-term plan, maybe to go with them, they need to get Frank out of the picture, which they're seemingly going to do, because Frank, like I said, is going to go off do his own thing in his own special, and is he going to be back in season 2? I believe that he is. So this stuff is going to continue. So I think they should just definitively draw a line that says Matt and Karen are just going to be friends, and that's it. Let's not do this, like, do these intimate looks and these arguments and this will they, won't they bullshit. Like, we don't need it. Just keep them, like, away from each other on that level. And, again, Karen and Frank, keep them, like, because it defeats, like, the purpose of Frank's whole thing if he's, like, shacking up with Karen. Or even, like, shagging Karen. I mean, like, you know, he got some ass in, season 2 of The Punisher, but, I mean, it was kind of, like, there, and then it was, like, it was gone. Like, after all that killing and violent shit, I mean, maybe he just needs another outlet. Okay, I can get that. Frank Castle occasionally getting himself some ass, cool. Frank Castle getting into just some, like, relationship, like, no. Like, but that's what we're looking at, because Charlie Cox and Deborah Ann Woll just do not have anywhere near the chemistry that Bernthal and Woll have. So it's like, that's a problem, I think, for the show. And again, you can't, like, know truly how actors are going to be with each other, the chemistry that is going to build and develop between them till you get them in front of the cameras, start having to shoot scenes and bring the script to life. Then you kind of see how things naturally go and how the vibe grows and shit like that. And I'm sure that's something they did not see coming, as well as the reaction to it. But it's a problem, I think, that I wonder what they're going to do with it, what's going to be the end result of it. And I really, really hope that they do not, like I said, succumb to the will and whims of the book talk women. And there could be some book talk dudes, I don't know, that are on the same wavelength, that want this whole castle thing to go down. Like, just please, dear God, whatever deity is up there in the universe, whatever sort of extraordinary power is out there, let's not make this a thing. I don't think it's going to be a thing, because like I said, I don't think the plans are, like, he's going to show up in season 2, do some shit, he's going to go off in his own special, do some shit. I don't think it's going to happen, but I also wouldn't put it past folks seeing this groundswell of whatever for Castle and pivoting. Like, oh God, please don't. Just no. Please no. Just, no. Anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Scattered as they often are. What do you guys out there think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me on social media. Fuck Nazis and Nazi sympathizers. And if you have a problem with that statement, then fuck you too, because you have issues. And we're going to be in Houston on Saturday. Neo Pro Wrestling. Come see me doing what I do, making movies, going places, kicking faces. It's what I do, and I do it very, very well. Love to see you there. But anyway, till next time, as always, let us geek.